Welcome to episode 10 of the Jersey Boys.
Hey everybody, this is Ronnie A here with Joey the Rash Silva. Joey!
Yo. Here I am, Ronnie.
That almost sounded like a boxing intro, huh? A little bit?
I know.
A little bit. I like to mix them up with you know what I mean?
Where's the card?
Change them up.
Round 10.
She's coming downstairs soon. Yeah. I'm just kidding, Mayor. I'm just kidding,
And she
Laura.
is a 10. Round 10, buy a 10.
Bingo. How you doing? Nice.
How you doing?
So, I'm doing great, bro. Hey, producer, how you doing?
Awesome.
Awesome.
Whoa, that was a little light.
Well, listen.
Come on, give me a good awesome,
we
man.
record.
Awesome.
We record at night. It's a little bit late.
He's
you
tired.
Know,
This guy.
took us a while.
I'm almost 50.
That's old. Joe, who else is?
Not me.
No, 25.
No, actually, I'm in my 51st year now.
That's very true.
You see?
Very true.
I'm in my 51st year.
Sure.
Yeah, brother.
Yep, moving on up.
So what do we got, Joe? Episode 10. Last week, episode 9 was a really cool episode, right?
Yes,
we
it was.
we
That
had
was fun.
Antonella Giancarelli on talking about giving to the homeless. So, guys, if you missed that show, we just want to kind of remind you a little bit about it. This Antonella, she's 10 years old. She had an idea that she wanted to help the homeless. And so she's collecting all kinds of stuff for them. And we got 3 locations, 142 Newark Ave in Jersey City, 360 Franklin Ave in Wyckoff, and 1450 Route 23 in Butler, all in New Jersey. If you don't know the zip codes, it's called Google. Thank you.
What would we do without Google?
That's my best buddy.
I'm telling you.
All right, quick story. King of stories. I get a lead today, and we connect, right? And the kid, he wants to buy a house, and we start talking, and
the kid wants to buy a house. They're getting younger and younger, I guess, buying homes. What's going on here?
honestly, he did. He sounded very young.
Still got zits all over his face and everything.
I don't know. He didn't. Well, maybe. I don't know. But he works for Google. Him and his wife both work for Google. So I make a joke. I go,
to
so
buy
bro,
a mansion? What?
I go, what do? You go to work in bathing suit, flip flops, and a white T-shirt? And I start laughing. He goes, sort of, yeah. Like straight up, bro. This is how this kid goes to work. Unbelievable, but yeah, we love our Google people. So anyway, Antonella Giancarelli, great thing that she's doing. Everybody, we would love those contributions and donations to help the homeless. Take a look at episode 9. Find us on Stitcher, Google Play, iTunes, Podbean, our website www.thejerseyboys.com.
Wait a minute, did we say YouTube too?
And YouTube, Joe.
YouTube.
That's right, kid. More and more.
You can
I'm
see
excited.
us on the YouTube. That's
But
why, right? You can actually
Not all of
see
them,
us.
only the one so far, right?
Yeah, but you can see us. That's what I'm saying.
They
You
can see
can
the logo.
see us. You can see us, and that's the Jersey Boys.
That's us.
We're
That's
real
us.
people.
So speaking of YouTube, Joe, great segue.
Yes.
Because you are the segwayer of all segwayers. Is that a word, segwayer? It is now. Hey! And Mr. Encyclopedia at
That
it.
could have been one of our words of the week, you know?
It might be the
Segue.
segwayer. So
Segue.
we got coming up on, let me see, it's December 11th. Is that the day to show? Yeah, that's when it's gonna go live. So on December 11th, we want to tell everybody that's gonna be the next video at Tommy's Taste of Italy.
Ooh, and that's going to be a
Joe.
carb day, right? We can eat like crazy on
Gavones.
that day. Gavones.
I can't wait, bro. But I just want to remind everybody to watch that. It's going to be exciting. Watch me eat. All right? Watch Joey eat. Alex, you're going to be on that one.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to be watching you eat too.
You can have a little
That's all I know.
espresso too afterwards. Drink your espresso.
I can't wait. Honestly, I'm so excited about that show. I guess because I'm going to be eating like a gavone, but still, I'm excited about it. It's going to be good. So,
Get a cannoli.
Ganol. Seeing how we
Right.
go back to our other ones, right?
Yep.
Our words, our pronunciations, the C's become a G. Tommy's going to love it. Tommy's a Brooklyn boy, I think. originally.
Yeah.
So,
How about some
we'll hear him.
Schwiedel?
Schwiedel.
There you go.
I love that. Oh, man. See how excited we get? I should be a fat guy. I really should, because I love
Well, if
food.
anything-
I'm fat inside.
Hey, listen, how about this? We have a bakery, the Jersey Boys.
You want
the
to do
bakery.
it? The
right?
next business venture.
Why
Hey,
not?
everybody, thanks for going to the show. We got to leave. We have a new business to go into.
We're doing the bakery.
The bakers.
The bakers.
The bakers.
Rise up early in the morning. Time to make, you name it.
Rise up. Interesting, right? Baker, bread, rise. Joe, you're good, bro. You're good. Bro, you're on video. Now I got to cut it. I love it. Oh, they don't need to.
I didn't know that. Hello.
How you doing over there? Hi, Marianne.
Oh boy. All right.
Speaking of Marianne, we know we got her music and we like it. Yes. Did we work on new music for Laurie? Because she doesn't like her music. We're composing.
I'm telling. I wish we could get Jaws, the theme from Jaws.
Listen, well,
let's just roll the dice. Let's just use the music, and if they come after us, we'll figure something out. We got people.
Can't get blood.
We got connections.
Can't get blood from a stone. We ain't got no money yet out of this thing. But
how do
why
you
not?
know? Our audience,
like
they probably think that we're rolling in it, right?
We are rolling
with all this popularity with this podcast.
So it's funny because Kurt Wubenhurst, he said, he goes, "What's wrong with you? Why don't you just come to me?" So actually, we might have to do that. So Kurt, listen, because I know you're listening. The bottom line is we need to come up with something like that. So it's a mix. Like it's the Jaws theme for Laurie because like she'll bite your head off if you give her, a reason to. But then she's also the Jersey girl, so you got to have a little bit of that groove in there too. So
the swagger. She's got the swagger, the Jersey swagger.
Yeah. So she's got the moves like Jagger. So we got to figure out how to do that, man.
Beautiful.
We got to mix that up. So Kurt Wubenhurst, you've just been commissioned. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Last week's wow.
Want me to spell it?
You know what, Joe? Here's the deal. Let's not spell it yet because I came up with a great idea because I'm such a genius.
Yeah.
Far from it. Anyway, I happened to be on the phone with my boy, Chris Miliotiis. He actually texted me about the show because he loved it, and he obviously heard us mention it last week. And I said, hey, how cool would it be to have a real Greek pronounce this word? Greek. So we're going to have Chris call in, and we'll have him pronounce the word. That, at that point in time, I want to hear you spell the word. It's going to take you a long time. It's 4 whole letters in this one.
I'm sweating.
All right, let's get Chris on the line right now.
Hello.
Oh, Miliotiis, Hello. Uncle Georgia.
What's up?
What up, kid?
What's up, Chris? You got Joey the Rash and Ronnie A here, the Jersey boys.
How you doing, kid?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I got a little nervous because I sent you a text. I wanted you to,
Phone's ringing.
Yeah, and I was a little nervous. I'm like, he's sleeping. Were you sleeping, bro?
Oh, we're here.
All right.
We're here.
They're ready to rock. So, Chris, I just told everybody, about last week's show, and I said, man, how cool would it be to have a real Greek come on and tell us how to pronounce this week's word of the week. Joe, could you do me a favor? Could you spell it, or do I have to spell it?
You have to spell it. What is it? GYRO?
That's it. I tell you, good.
I
man.
am smart.
You are good. GYRO. Miliotiis, the one and only Greek. Tell us, how do you say that word?
Coming from Miliotiis the Greek, you got GYRO.
Ooh.
We don't want,
say it again. Say it again.
Americans with the gyro, not the incorrect American way, gyro.
Oh, American way, the American
so,
way.
I got to tell everybody, me and Chris used to work together, right? We used to write mortgages together for a company, and his cousin, Mark Demetrio, another Greek, is still there.
I think
and he's
so.
the branch manager.
Name,
yeah, Demetrio, you would know it, right? Miliotiis. So Chris is the one who taught me how to say. I never even knew the right way to say this word. Gyro. That's it. And I think I don't know if he smacked me, punched me, kicked me, but he got me good.
Yep.
He's like, don't you ever say it like that again. He schooled me. So Chris, I noticed too, you got a little bit of a little trill in the R there. Say it again.
Gyro. You got to get that little going.
Gyro.
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 Roll the R like you did in one of your episodes, Joey.
Gyro.
Not here, year. So Chris, the G is a Y?
As a Y, yeah.
It's a Y.
Almost no G. Almost no G.
Almost no G. Gyro.
There you go.
I love it.
There you go.
You got it now.
Chris, coming from a Greek, if I'm in Jersey, where's the best gyro?
You want to go to a store, or you want to go to my yaya's, my grandmother's house? You're going to get the best.
I knew he was going to say that.
What do you call your grandmother?
Yaya.
My yaya. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Yes, I think it's probably a good idea to let her know that the Jersey boys are coming for a home cooked gyro. I think that's fantastic. But I don't think she could take everybody. So if we had to go to a store, where would it be? But I'm going to Yaya's.
So it's probably not there, but there was a place in downtown Bergenfield.
Oh, the Bears. In downtown Bergenfield, Washington Ave?
Downtown Bergenfield.
On the,
Yeah,
on
right
the
off
main
Washington
avenue?
Avenue. I don't remember the name, but it was right off the main avenue.
Interesting.
And I grew up in Haworth, 2 towns over, and it was amazing.
So check that out. So, Chris, you just said you grew up in Haworth. Now, I find that funny because Chris is a Jersey boy, right? But I lived in Bergenfield, ironically, as he's talking about, until I was 10 before we moved up here, right? But I don't say Haworth. I say Hallworth.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Haworth.
That's I would say it that way too. Haworth.
Haworth. Yeah.
Haworth.
Chris says Haworth. I would almost make fun of that, but I can't because you're a guest on our show right now.
we can do it when he hangs up. Maybe it's because he's been down in Georgia so long.
Nah, he always said that.
Yeah?
He always said that, and I always caught it. I'm like, wow, he says it differently.
Maybe it's a Greek thing. Who knows?
Greek. The Greek.
Greek.
No, come on, it's been almost 11 years I've been here.
I can't believe that, bro.
I think I lost a little of my accent, but I always told Ronnie and everybody else I'll never say y'all.
Never saying y'all.
No?
Don't
No
do
way.
it. Don't do it.
No way. Hey, Miliotiis, we're going to get on with the show. Bro, I love you for taking the time out tonight to school everybody on how to say gyro. Let's hear it one more time. One more time. Give it to me.
GYRO.
From
Yes.
the Greek. Awesome.
All right, Chris.
Later,
Thanks
buddy.
For calling
Guys,
in, buddy.
thank you.
Take care.
Ronnie,
Thanks for
Ron,
listening.
Joey the Rash, thanks, guys.
All right,
You got it, brother.
Ciao.
Adios. That's awesome.
All right, we got a very special guest tonight on the Jersey Boy podcast, and that is Todd Blyleven. Now, Todd,
Blyleven.
I met Todd about 5 years ago through a mutual friend of ours, Michael Franzese, Ronnie. We both know
yeah.
Michael.
Yep.
And I was out in California. Todd was Michael Jr., Michael Franzese's son. It was his pitching coach. Mike Jr.,
That's right.
some know this, but he was a very good baseball player, and he actually had a tryout with the New York Mets, and his pitching coach was Todd Blyleven. Well, who's Todd Blyleven? Well, Todd is the son of Hall of Famer Burt Blyleven,
Right on.
who was with several professional baseball teams, Minnesota Twins. Most people know him from the Twins.
Right.
He was with the Rangers, the Pirates back in the day when they won the World Series.
We are family.
We are family, right?
That's right.
Stargell and all those guys. Then with the Cleveland Indians, Minnesota Twins again, and then back to the Angels. He played with the Angels.
Right.
Actually, he played with the Angels at the end of his career. So
And he won the World Series with the Twins
with
as
the
well,
Twins, yep. So Kirby
Okay.
Puckett was on that team, I
Yeah.
believe, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, with the Pirates and the Twins, now he's with the Minnesota Twins doing the commentating.
Right. So
You
he's
know.
a commentator for the Twins. And I read up he's also a commentator for Fox Sports North,
he
right?
does that too.
Yeah.
So that's Todd's dad, Hall of Famer Burt Blyleven. But Todd was in the pros, in the minor league system for about 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, he went into scouting for the Major League Baseball clubs, a couple of different clubs. I think the Rockies was one of them, and the Rangers as well, and maybe the Angels too, I believe.
Yep.
He did some scouting for. But yeah, so he had a great career, moved on to scouting, and then opened up a training facility out in California. And now he and his wife and kids are in the Dallas area in Texas.
Very nice.
So we'll learn more about Todd when he calls in, and we'll go from there.
So I noticed, Joe, when he was a scout, one of the biggest names that he signed, and again, I use the word signed, obviously that must have meant that either he discovered him or, did the research on it and brought it to the team, was Troy Tulowitzki.
Yeah.
So it's a big name in baseball.
Yep.
You know what I mean? What a cool job.
Yeah, and
Right?
we can ask him about that too.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to talking to Mr. Blyleven.
Well, let's get him on. All right, so we have Todd Blyleven on. Todd just called in. So, Todd, thank you so much for calling in to the Jersey Boy podcast here with Joey DeRash and Ronnie A. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so I told Ronnie and our listening audience a little bit about your background and how we met, and who your dad is and what you've done in the minor league system and scouting and everything else. So I know Ronnie had a question for you.
I got a couple of questions after
Yeah.
the research, but the first one was, and I found it ironic that when we met tonight, to talk about what we're going to do with the show, Joey and I both looked at each other and we said, "Oh my goodness, he played in Lynchburg." And Joey said, "Ronnie, I never even knew that before either until I did the research." And the reason that's so important to us is because Joey's a graduate of Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, and now all of our kids are there.
Right.
So we're there all the time.
Well, yeah, and Todd, you don't know this, but my wife, Marianne, that's where I met my wife, down at Lynchburg, Virginia, and both of her parents are professors at Liberty University. So when I was in high school, my high school football coach, he was the one who turned me on to Liberty, and he said to me, "You're going to go down to this school, and you're going to meet your wife." So I'm like, "All right, coach, yeah, whatever." I'm 17 years old. I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds good, whatever, coach." So sure enough, he was right. When I was 22 years old, I think it was, I met my wife to be in Lynchburg, Virginia. So you know who else played down there? Darryl Strawberry. Strawberry played for that team at one point as well. So I don't know who else played in that system, but
Todd Blyleven was 2-1 with a save and a 2.09 ERA while playing with the Lynchburg Hillcats. How was that experience for you?
Well, Lynchburg was such a great town, and just like any minor league town, it's well supported, and the fans and the community are just amazing people, and real grassroots, true Americans that just come out to watch young men trying to achieve their goals and their dreams. And Liberty was actually a really cool place to go hang out, especially after a game or on a day off, because there were some pretty cool little pubs they had around there. Go play some pool or throw some darts. And I remember, spending a couple nights down there. But hey, Joe, you should have asked your coach what the lottery numbers were too, because he was right about you meeting your wife.
I know, right? Exactly. Hey, but another interesting thing about Lynchburg, there's a connection too, because your dad, right? He played with the Pirates, and they won the World Series. After that time frame, I don't know, I guess in the 80s when Sid Bream played for the Pirates and then went on to play for the Braves as well. But when he was with the Pirates, he's a graduate of Liberty University, Sid Bream. So he went to Liberty University, and I know his brother Sheldon Bream, who's married to Shannon Bream, who's on Fox News now.
Oh, wow.
So, so there's a connection for you because of the Pirates and your dad. And I know you spent a lot of time when you were a youngster, right? Going to Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, what's interesting is in 1979 when the Pirates won the World Series, I was the bat boy that whole series. In fact, I skipped school that whole year and basically was homeschooled through a Major League Baseball program, and I got a chance to travel around with the team from spring training in Florida all the way to the end of the World Series. And one of the pitchers on that team was Jim Bibby. And Jim Bibby ended up being my pitching coach while I was in Lynchburg with the Hillcats.
No.
And our manager at the time was Jeff Bannister, which is a manager of the Rangers now.
Wow. Yep. Yeah, so, I read that. That Bannister was a manager then,
See that? So, you're connected with us. I'm connected to Lynchburg, Virginia. Ronnie is. You are now. We got to get Alex in the mix here now. Alex, our producer, has no connection to Liberty in Lynchburg, Virginia. Got to get him in there.
I got another question real quick for Todd. So, Todd, I noticed in the research that you went into scouting, and during that time while you were scouting, you were with the Rockies for 7 years, right? From 2000 to 2007.
So I started with the Angels in 2000 and joined the Rockies in 2003.
Okay.
And my last season with the Rockies was 2008.
2008. So, was there a lot of interaction with you between coaches and players and things of that nature like that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's because of my background, I always had interaction with all the players and coaches and baseball operations, minor league coordinators, the staff, not just in the scouting department.
Okay. Did you pal around with? Did you know Mark Stripmatter?
The name sounds familiar. It's not. I can't see a face, but the name sounds familiar. And in baseball, there's so many people that you come across, and especially in the in the scouting industry or baseball operations, but it sounds familiar.
So Mark had a similar past to you. He he was in the minor leagues for a long time, and he was a catcher, and eventually he made it up for I think he made it up for 2 games with Colorado in the bigs, and he ended up becoming the bullpen catcher, and then from there he became a coach in the bullpen, and to date, I believe Mark Strittmatter is the longest tenured Colorado Rocky, and he's a Jersey boy. Yeah, he's from Ridgewood.
Wow.
So I figured I'd see if you knew him. That's all. That's all.
And and listen,
I'm sure if our paths crossed that we recognize each other. Yeah.
maybe.
Sure.
Maybe.
Sure.
And I had mentioned Todd before you called in that our mutual friend is Michael Franzese, and that's how I met you. I guess going on about 5 years ago, and I know you were Mike Jr.'s pitching coach, and you've helped him. And then you and I got to know each other, and we've stayed, good friends since that time. And I told Ronnie and our producer Alex here all about you, and I told him about our conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago about something that you experienced back on October 1st, the tragic events of Las Vegas. So we wanted to hear a little bit about that evening and what you experienced. So maybe you could tell our listening audience what you were doing in Vegas and what happened that evening.
Well, obviously it's tough thing to talk about, but it's my wife and I and about 18 other family members, friends, kind of a group from Texas, a group from California, just a large party. We had really met there the last 3 years going to that venue, and it's a 3-day country concert. It's country music. It's a lot of fun. You feel very safe. A lot of the people in the venue are very friendly. You're basically going to just have some beers and hang out with your wife and enjoy some music. And you hardly ever see really any controversy or aggressiveness from the crowd. And it's usually the girls trying to get up as close to the stage as possible to see the country singers shake their butts. I mean, that's kind of the extent of it, and
what is that festival called? What do they call that?
So that's the Route 91 Harvest Festival.
Okay.
And so on that we had been there that weekend, and it just had a blast. I mean, that whole weekend was going just crazy, amazing, awesome. Everybody was just having a great time, and it came down to the last performer. Jason Aldean was getting ready to take the stage, and typically on the last performer over the past few years, we've always split up, and the girls have always kind of rushed the stage and tried to get as close as they could to see that final performer, the headliner, perform, and then all the guys would veer off to the right side of the stage. But this time, for whatever reason, we all decided to stay together, and we were just behind the main crowd, dead center in the stage, but just behind the main body of where everybody was shoulder to shoulder and wall to wall. And it was a good enough little area where we were at because we were actually able to dance around a little bit, and that's what I happened to be doing with a niece of mine. I call her my niece. I've known her since she was about 10, 11 years old, and we're just having a great time. I mean, it's dark. You got country music. Everybody's just having a blast. Everybody's smiling. We're taking selfies and video of each other, and the next thing you know, at the end of one of the songs, you start hearing these pop, pop, pop sounds, and it sounded like a long-range gunfire, and but you weren't certain exactly what it was, but you could hear that echoing and that thud, and so it just kind of got you onto a heightened alert stage, and then the next song had started, and about 5-10 seconds into the song, all of a sudden you hear this barrage of automatic weapon gunfire just coming down on you, and at first you look off towards the right, towards Mandalay Bay, and you're thinking maybe it's a drive-by, maybe it's someone down past Mandalay Bay, and we're just hearing the echoing because Vegas is in a desert. You don't think at all at all where you're at that there's somebody up in a room shooting at you.
Right.
The thought just doesn't even cross your mind. But you're in this heightened awareness of, now I know where that gunfire is coming from. It's to my right side. And then once that second barrage of gunfire started, it was about a 10-second delay. That's when you could hear people screaming. And Jason Aldean, the lights went out. Jason Aldean runs off the stage. Everybody gets down on a knee or down to the ground. And, and there you are. And so I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to imagine the most important person in your life right now, whether that be your wife or your mom or your girlfriend or whatever it may be, your brother or anyone, and imagine that most important person in your life, and that person sitting right in front of you, 5 feet away, 3 feet away, and you're hearing people that are 10 feet away getting hit with bullets.
Wow.
And your main objective is to get that person out of that venue as quickly as possible and shield them with every bit of flesh that you have to ensure that they get out of that place safely. And that's exactly what happened. And, so we went down, and I had my brother-in-law to my right. My wife was right in front of me. My sister-in-law was to my right. And I told everybody, all the kids were down. I said, get ready, focus, focus, focus. Let's get up. Let's run, run, run. And by the time that second round had stopped, we were one step out, and all had been turned and started to run east. And at that time, a lot of our group had separated, and some went north towards the back of the venue. There was an exit point west going towards Mandalay Bay. I had seen some muzzle flash coming from Mandalay Bay, so I knew I wanted to run as far away from the bullets as possible. And so we start running, and I've got my brother-in-law and my wife and my sister-in-law in front of me, and you're just trying to run as big as possible. And that third round had started, that automatic gunfire. And, I didn't realize this until about my fourth therapy session, that I remember this feeling of, every time my boot would leave the ground, I didn't know if it was going to come back and touch it.
Wow.
And you're just trying to run as big as you can and as arms as wide as you can, so you're protecting those in front of you. And that's all you're trying to do, but you don't, for 20, 30 steps, I thought I was a goner. And so the main objective was just try to get to this, it was a Budweiser booth, and we were just trying to get to that booth because it was some sort of coverage. And so by the time we got there, there had already been a girl down on the ground, and she was bleeding. And I noticed a gate that was open direct about 15 yards to our left, and with 2 cop cars on the outside. So we get up and we run to that, and we get behind those cop cars, and the third round had stopped by that time, and there was already a girl that had been shot over there. An officer had been shot in the foot at that point, and now you look behind you, and all you're in basically survival mode of just trying to get out of that venue, and what's your next exit point. And so you turn real quick, and there's 4 cop cars directly behind you down a street called Giles Street, which is on the east side of the venue. And so you start running down Giles Street towards Tropicana Casino, and I looked off to my left, and I saw a guy carrying a girl that reminded me of my niece. It's about 21 years old, wearing shorts and a little tank top and brown hair, and he was carrying her like a pair of scissors, doing whatever he could to get her out. And so I ran over and I helped him lay her down, and I don't think she made it. And I ran back, and at that point I just knew I had to go back.
And that's when you said to your wife, right, that I'm going back in. Yeah. Yep. And I told my brother-in-law, I said, you need to take my wife and your sister and your wife, and you need to keep heading away from the bullets and just run northeast, and I'm going to go back in. And of course they didn't want me to, but I just felt like I had to. And
And I saw some clarity in my brother-in-law's eyes, and he was in now a protective mode, and I felt comfortable with my wife and where we were at and where we were safe, and I heard sirens in the distance. So I knew that in my heart something told me that they were going to be okay. Yeah. And I knew that in my heart that I had the ability to go back in and pull people out. And that's what I did. And, I turned around and I ran back in. And there was a big kind of delay between the third and fourth round of gunfire, and or maybe it was the fourth and fifth, but there was a big delay. And so, there's parts that I don't remember, but I remember running in right away, and there was an elderly woman, and now you imagine yourself being in a grocery store and you're just seeing normal people, just average everyday, not soldiers, not anybody that you would ever imagine being in the middle of a turf war or anything else, but these are normal people, just citizens. And this woman was shot in the side. And so you're running over to her and you're picking her up. And another gentleman came over and he helped me, and we carried her over to the police cars. And as I'm getting ready to go back in now, because I don't know, I don't have a medical background, so I'm just trying to grab people and pull them out. And there was this about 5'2" blonde hair, maybe mid 40s, late 50s, or whatever age woman, and she comes out and she says, "I'm an RN nurse. What can I do?" And I said, "You need to turn around. You need to put your hands on those people. You got two injured women down, and you got a police officer shot in the foot. I don't know what to do. I'm just going to keep going in and grabbing people." And that's basically what it was. And you're running back and forth and you're bringing people out. And at one point there was another girl that was down on the ground, and and I picked her up, and you throw her over your shoulder and you run her out and you lay her down as gently as possible, and she's gone. Oh. I mean, she's gone. Yeah. And
that's something you're never going to forget. You had told me that, when you had that experience, it's like you just recall that in your mind. You see her, you see her in your head, right?
Yeah, I'll never forget that touch of her arm and the softness of that wrist and the hand and everything, just kind of laying it down. And I tried to be as gentle as I could. And, and then you're running out, and now you're trying to, at this time, some of the trucks were being kind of commandeered from the parking lot, and people were, loading injured, like critically injured, into the backs of pickup trucks. And so you're helping with getting those. And what was amazing at that moment in time of total terror, and the gunfire is still going off. Wow. It's still happening. At that moment,
how long did that last? How long did the gun shots go?
It was about, I think they said it was about 12 minutes. It seemed like it was a half hour, but realistically, about 15 minutes or so.
And Todd, how many people were inside there during the concert?
22,000.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. And, I'm surprised that there weren't more people like just stepping on top of each other, like just running over each other. There were a lot of that?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, there were a lot of people that got trampled. Yeah. There was something like, I don't even know what the exact numbers are, 600 people that were injured, and some of those were because they're broken ribs and just get trampled over.
And they got trampled on. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was mass chaos. You're running in and you're in the middle of the field, and people are coming in with wheelbarrows because there was a construction site on Giles Street, and you're loading people into a wheelbarrow, and you're running people out. These beautiful young ladies that are just all shot up, and you're running them out, trying to get them to some sort of person that can help save their life. Yeah. And the amount of people, every time that I went back in and I came out, the amount of people that had hands on people, the volunteers, the people that turned around, the firefighters, the paramedics, the police, everybody that was off duty, because first responders weren't there yet that were on duty. Right. But it was a country concert. So you're talking about a lot of people that were in the military and were in fire and medical fields, and they were just, everybody was down on the ground trying to save people. And it was
the best of America. The best of America, right? Showed up that
night. Really was. It really was.
Tragedy.
The good in mankind. You watch it. unfortunately, like where you guys are at with 9/11. I mean, I remember my wife and I, we were dating at the time, and we were watching the same program on TV when that tragedy happened. Yeah. And you think, your heart sinks and you feel helpless on the other side of that. Now, we're in California and that's happening in New York, and you're just like, oh my God, those poor people. Who would do this and why? And you're feeling the tragedy, and to be there amongst that live when it's happening, it's the most scariest, most tragic thing I've ever been around, and I pray to God nobody else has to go through it. But in that light of terror and tragedy, there was good, and there were people that didn't matter what color of skin you were, didn't matter what language you spoke or what your political beliefs were. They were going to help you, and it didn't matter. And I was going in, and I was going to carry whoever it was out that needed to be carried out. And it just that was that mentality of let's just get as many people out as we could. And I had a dream the other night. It was about a week and a half ago or so, and I was running in. I've had nightmares since, but I had this one dream in particular where I was running in and bullets were running, being spread to my left, and so I hide behind this pole, and now there's bullets coming to my right, and this big being comes sweeping behind me, and it was an angel, and he spread his wings, and he was blocking bullets, and it allowed me to follow him more into the venue, and I grabbed someone on the ground and I carried them out with this angel behind me. And that was the sense of feeling that I got, was there was something there protecting those that went back in to try to help. I'm surprised I didn't get shot, but I'm thankful to God that I did not.
Well, we talked about that, Todd. We talked about that. You and I had a 2-hour conversation, and listen, God used you that night, and I know He has big plans for you moving forward. So, I mean, His angels definitely, were there that night helping, and definitely was there to protect you that night to help lots of people.
It's an amazing story, Todd. I mean, it's funny because Joey, you told me this story, but when you hear it from the horse's mouth, it's right? Alex too.
Well, it didn't end there. I mean, that's what people don't understand is it just didn't end when the gunfire stopped.
Yep.
Because you're hearing misreports of there's gunfire at Bellagio, there's gunfire at Tropicana, there's people in trucks driving down Vegas Boulevard shooting people on the sides. There's a bomb at Luxor. I mean, you're hearing all these mixed reports of all these things going on. And so about my 7th or 8th time going in, I ended up there was this guy that kept going with me, and he was a off-duty Las Vegas EMT, and he had a couple friends, and all of a sudden we hear that they're shooting at Tropicana. So there was nothing else that we could have done at that moment in the venue. This was probably around almost midnight, so it was a good hour and a half or so after the shooting had been done, and we're trying to get as many people out. But we sprint over to Tropicana because there's a shooter there, and we're hearing people are going down there. And so now here you are, and I remember I'm running across the parking lot thinking, what am I doing? But your legs just keep moving forward, and you're just, and so you get to the back of Tropicana, and now there's ambulances there, and you're loading people up in the ambulances, and then a cop comes up and says, hey, there's a potential shooter up on the roof. We need to get everybody inside. And now you're going down, now you're in this long corridor, about 150 people packed in side by side, and you feel like you're this protector of you, and 3 other guys are just making sure everybody's safe, and you're trying to protect everybody, and you're barreling through service doors trying to find a shooter, and you're looking at your hands going, I'm going to throw my body on them. I'm going to do whatever I can to protect the mass. But it was mass chaos. I mean, everybody was scared to death. There were people huddling up on, I barreled through one door. It was a refrigeration door, and, there were 6 people all like just stacked on top of each other in the corner and just screaming.
How about the time that you come in contact with some guy who had a knife or something? What happened with that?
So in the process of trying to clear out some of these rooms in this hallway, I ended up finding a girlfriend of ours that was with our group, and I was able to get her on an ambulance, even though she didn't want to go. But I got her on an ambulance because she had been grazed in the left knee. And right after that had happened, we heard that there was a gentleman at the end of the hallway, somebody with a knife. And so right away you turn and you run and you're sprinting down this 100-yard hallway that goes underneath the casino, and you're approaching this big old dude, and he's got a big 9-inch knife in his right hand, and you're coming up on him, and all I said was, "Are you a good guy or are you a bad guy?" And he looked at me and he goes, "I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy." And I was getting ready to grab his hand and hit him and hope to God that the guys running behind me were going to be able to do something too. But that was it. And so you tell him, "Hey, listen, you got to put your knife away, pal. You're scaring the heck out of everybody." But everybody in there, the heightened sense of protectiveness, of scared and terror, and everybody dealt with it differently. I come across a lot of people that are across the globe, but some people that were there and they were like, "Hey, listen, I was a off-duty police officer, and I ran to my hotel room. I can't believe that you turned around and went back in as many times as you can." Yeah. And they felt bad. But that's not my place to judge. And when you're there and you got your loved ones there, all you're trying to do is just trying to get out.
Yep. Speaking of your loved ones, how long from the time that you sent your wife, her sister, and your brother-in-law away did you then reunite with them? What was that time frame in between?
Well, the shooting started at, I think, let's say 10:05 or something, or whatever it was. I got Kathy and Joe and Heather out within 3 minutes. I'd say from 10:08 to 10:10 when I said, goodbye, whatever it was. I didn't see them again until 6 o'clock in the morning.
Wow. What? No way.
Yeah.
Zero communication.
Yeah.
So when you did reunite, was your wife a nervous wreck? Was she possibly afraid that maybe you got killed in all of that?
Yeah, so throughout the night of me running back and forth, like my phone kept going off, and I would check it when I would come out, and like my dad was calling, and so my brother-in-law actually called me and said, "Hey, we're safe," and I said, "I'm safe," and I hung up on him, and I said, and then the next time I said, "Send me your GPS location," and he would send it. And so I knew that they were safe because they told me they were. Mm-hmm. And at some point in that night, apparently, and I don't remember this, but I was on the phone with my wife during the time at Tropicana when the officer said there's a shooter up on the roof and we need to get in. And my wife was screaming at me on the other end of the line saying, "You need to get your butt inside." And I'm telling her, "No, baby, I can't. I have to get everybody inside first." And I don't remember that, but she knew, I kept trying to send text messages saying I was safe. I had a friend that was in the Secret Service and a friend that was in the FBI and another friend that was a first responder with LAPD Metro. And so these three guys were kind of my connection to the outside world as far as trying to get legitimate reports on what was going on. And at one point, it was about 4:30 in the morning. One of those friends of mine said, "One shooter, they got the girlfriend, all is clear. You can relax."
Nice.
And at that point, that's when I knew, okay, we're okay.
Yeah, right.
And I just dropped to my knees. Yeah, it was crazy.
So they got back to they were back at the hotel, right? Your wife and everybody was back at the hotel at that time?
No. So when they took off running, they ran northeast, and we were actually about 50 yards apart from each other at the end of the night, to be honest. They ended up, there was a town share place called the Desert Rose Resort, and they were hiding between two cars, and a gentleman came out of a town share, and he allowed, he had about 20, 25 people that he let into his town share with him and his four friends, and there was about 30 of them all barricaded inside, and I'd love to meet the guy and shake his hand and say thank you, because he's a true hero to me, to step out into that and take all those people in, and he protected my wife, and my brother-in-law too is a hero of mine, because he kept his feet moving forward and he did what he needed to do to save his wife and my wife and his sister and keep everybody safe. Yeah. there was a lot of heroism going on that night amongst a lot of poor, sad, innocent people that were injured or killed.
Yeah,
very tragic.
You stepped up and, you did what you thought you had to do, and you helped a lot of people, and, you took a big risk, but, you did what you had to do. And, we're just happy and glad that, you're okay. And, I'm honored, obviously, to call you my friend and to know, the type of person that you are. It didn't surprise me when I heard what you did. Because I said, I've known Todd for a while now, and even though we're not, see each other all the time, I just got to know Todd pretty well, and he's just a stand-up guy, and he's the kind of guy that would do something like that. So, I say thank you again for what you did, and I'm sure lots of people who don't know you, but you did help that night, would love the opportunity to thank you, and maybe someday you'll have the opportunity to meet some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been an amazing support group, not only with friends like yourself, but a lot of the Route 91 survivors, the people that got out, that have all been kind of together, and it's created this bond, almost like a family.
Yeah.
Everybody understands exactly how we felt in that given moment, and my whole thought was, as I was running back in, I think it was the second or third time, was I just couldn't imagine the people that were not there, that could not protect their loved ones, the moms, the dads, the brothers, the sisters, the people that are hearing this news and saying, just feeling helpless. And I just had to continue to keep moving forward for them. That's, that was my main purpose, is I just had to keep pushing forward to try to get people out, because other people can't do that.
Yeah.
And I would hope and pray to God that if I hope it never happens again, but if it ever did to me or my family, and I was one of those injured down, that, or my wife or someone else, that someone would be brave enough to go back in. And and then unfortunately, then you hear about the New York incident, and you hear about the Texas shooting, and then the California shooting, and it's just kind of you can identify with that terror that those people go through at that given moment, and your heart just goes out to them. But in that, there's people that responded, and there's more good people in this world than there are bad, and I think we just have to keep believing in that, and keep loving each other, and really just try to believe in the good, and put all this other stuff behind us, and agree to disagree with things, but just treat people how you want to be treated, and be there for people when they need you.
The golden rule,
that's
right?
all.
The golden rule.
Yep.
That's true. So true.
That was an amazing story. Todd, I got to imagine, because most of the time when me and Joey and Alex, when we do this show is, it's funny, right? We poke holes in things, we laugh, we make fun of one another. And so this is somewhat of a heavy show, but it's also necessary to talk about these things. I got to imagine that every person out there right now listening is probably parked in their car, late to work, because they don't want to stop listening. You know what I mean? This was just incredibly intriguing. I just want to say thank you, because I'm sure, like you said in the beginning, this isn't easy to talk about. So thank you so much, man, for taking your time to tell everybody about what happened, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then I really do appreciate it as well. And you're going to have to meet Ronnie and Alex someday, Todd. Maybe when we take a trip. Now you're down in Texas now, so we'll have to take a trip down there, right around Fort Worth? Dallas, where are you at?
We're in the North Dallas area, and New York is one of my favorite places to go. My wife is full-blood Italian, so
there you
all right.
Yeah, I know. You better watch it. Yeah, so I better watch it.
You better sleep with one eye open.
You got to turn around to the Jersey Boys show now. Hopefully she's gonna listen to this podcast, and then all of you are gonna continue to listen to the Jersey Boy podcast.
See, this is why now it's all coming together. This is why Todd he had the bravery he did. He's married to an Italian, full-blood Italian woman. You think bullets scare this guy? No way.
No way. Come on.
Forget about it.
Yeah, forget about it. That's
right.
Funny.
Oh, man.
Well, I'll tell you what. When are you going to come out this way? You got to come out. When you do come out, we'll definitely go out for dinner or something like that. But when do you have any future plans? Anything coming up?
Nothing coming up. No, I know we went out there. I think around springtime a couple years back, and we'd like to do that again. So, yeah, you never know. But I'll definitely look you guys up, and I'll let you know before we come out for sure.
And
Yeah.
Todd, what are you doing with yourself now? So you were in scouting, and I read that you had opened up a facility. So you opened up a baseball academy. Are you still doing that, or?
So I did that for a couple of years, and then I got asked to get into the corporate world of sports, into working for a couple of companies, representing their brands, like in partnerships and athletes, and very similar to what I was doing in baseball operations with contracts and stuff. But so I'm basically in sports marketing, and it's a good job, and it gets me home at night. I get a chance to. I got a 14-year-old son that's extremely, very well gifted athlete in the baseball world, and so it's been fun to watch him. And he's a catcher, and he plays third base, and he's a switch hitter, and he's hitting the ball about 390 right now at 14, and from both sides, and he's way better than I ever was, and so no pressure on him to play or anything, but we try to keep it fun, and so it's been a fun journey I love being a dad and a husband, and I got an 11-year-old daughter that loves to dance, and so you just try to be there for them, and this job allows me to do that. So
that's awesome. That's a blessing, man.
I always enjoy seeing all the pictures on Facebook, and you definitely are having a good time, and you're a great dad, great husband,
I'm trying
and a great friend as well. So,
Todd, thank you again for coming on the show, man. We look forward to meeting you, buddy.
All right, Jersey boys. Yeah, have a cannoli for me, would you?
We'll do.
We'll do it.
Thank you, brother.
All right, Todd.
All right,
Thanks,
ciao.
brother.
Ciao, buddy.
Ciao.
All right. Ciao. All right. Bye.
Bye. Wow. Tell you what, that was unbelievable, right?
Blown away, dude.
I told you. I mean, when I spoke to him about, I guess, 2 weeks ago, I said, Todd, you got to come on the Jersey Boy podcast, and you got to tell this story.
And it's so funny because when me and you talked about that, I said to you, obviously the story is going to be, intriguing, and a lot of people are going to want to or would be interested in hearing it. But we're the Jersey boys, you know what I mean? And that has nothing typically to do with our show. And I was nervous. I'm like, man, what do we get? But you know what? It's like you got to put everything aside, and a story like that just has to be told.
It's got to be shared, and I tell you, he's proud to call him my friend. He's a good man, and everything I said about him is true. And I'm so happy that he's still with us.
Thank God for that.
Yeah, and I know God has great plans for him. I'm telling you,
no doubt. His story about like feeling like he had it was the dream, right, where it was like the angel and the wings, Maybe maybe there's more than just a dream there. Maybe that was more like a vision. You know what I mean? And that actually happened.
Right there.
Yeah, man. God bless him, man. What a cool story.
Absolutely.
What bravery, man.
Absolutely. And then, I can't wait for them to come out, Todd and his wife to come out, and his family, and we'll definitely show them a good time in Jersey and in New York.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, bro. So hey, Joe, props to you putting this one together. This might take the cake, right? I really enjoyed
episode
this 10
one.
Here might take the cake.
Episode 10, what's a good number, right? 10.
So, Joe, I came up with a great word for next week's wow.
Why is that?
Well, I thought about how this whole show got started.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it was basically,
making fun of me. All right.
No, Joey.
All right. Okay.
Joey, nobody makes fun. Ever.
What do we do then? We just
point out the obvious
together and just
we just point out the obvious.
All right.
That there's only
one Joey to rash.
That's it.
That's it.
Well said. Well said. So Joe, what did we say? We said you say serum, and that's what got this whole thing started.
Right. That's right.
So
I stand by that.
You do. Outside of the by the way, I never asked you.
I have several people come up to me and have said that.
What about your brother and your sister? Do they say serum?
Absolutely.
So that's what it is. You know what I think? I think there was a gas leak on Olympia in Clifton.
Maybe.
That's it. So all you guys were infected.
The whole block.
And then,
the whole block.
But does the whole block say serum?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Then that's what it is. Then it was an external leak, not an internal leak.
That section of Clifton, baby.
Yeah, baby. Clifton, baby. I love it. So, hey, Joe. So that's what I did. So for next week's wow, we're going to go with this word. ENVESTIGN. L-O-P-E. All right? So next week, I want to hear how you say it. I want to hear how everybody else says it. I want to hear how the producer says it. That's next week's Wow. That wraps up episode 10. Joe?
Can't believe it, 10. Do we have a cake tonight for episode 10?
12.
Oh, 12 we have a cake?
Oh, 12 we're going to have a cake.
Yeah, sounds good. I like it.
Party. Yeah.
All
We're
right.
going to work the
Wow.
party.
I'm looking forward
or maybe
to that.
we'll do that at Tommy's Taste It
That's
Early. I'll
right.
put a candle inside of the chicken
Beautiful.
cutlet. Never mind the cake.
Yeah, right.
Episode 10. That's it, everybody. I'm Ronnie A.
And I'm Joey the Rash.
I'm out.
Ciao.